Before I share my story of accessing post-secondary education, let me paint the picture of the odds that I had to overcome. I'm Sean Elliott, and maybe you're new to the research prospects of youth in care, or maybe you're a student from care needing some encouragement in overcoming your barriers and adversities. My years as a child and youth were not pleasant, as I was raised in a violent, dysfunctional home. And eventually this led to becoming a foster child. And although the biological home was the preference by Children's Aid, the more fighting, abuse, and the crisis that arose, the more that foster homes became the norm for me. At the age of 15, I fought this path that it was taking me down, and I emancipated from CIS and my family. Everyone kept minimizing expectations for me too. Well, if you got this far, why would you expect anything more? But like my friends, I wanted to go to university or college as well. Why couldn't I be like them? Research indicates that less than 44% of youth in care will complete high school. So here I was thinking I could finish school, get a career, buy a home for my family. Now I know I might not have been thinking realistically as a 15-year-old, but little did I know how this kind of goal would propel me forward. My social worker made a deal with me. He said that if I could stay in school, he would work with me to figure out a way to support me. However, that challenge was all I needed to prove that I could succeed. I had 3 part-time jobs while trying to finish high school, and although I really struggled, not academically, but with everything else in getting to school, I eventually graduated high school. Not once, but twice, with 2 high school diplomas. Not only did I complete high school, but I secured good, meaningful jobs along the way. I was building and building references, anything to try and help myself get by. Forecasts of former youth in care are that they will be homeless, unemployed, at risk of criminal activity, dependent on drugs and or alcohol, institutionalized, struggling with mental illnesses, suicidal ideation or attempts, and destructive lifestyles. However, for some reason, this was not the case in my youth and throughout my life. My entire career of over 40 years, I've only been unemployed once, and that was only for 3 days while I was applying for unemployment benefits. My life has been marked by job security, stability, and free of addictions. And I've held many jobs that have significantly contributed to increasing mental well-being for myself and for many others, and something that I have strove to model in my own life. The research goes on to say that less than 5% of former youth in care will complete post-secondary education. Somehow, there was a fight in me to resist that kind of negative outcome. So, beating the odds, I wanted something better than my trauma or crisis. I later graduated with 3 credentials out of the 4 post-secondary educational programs I enrolled in. In the last 15 years, I've had the privilege of working in higher education for 3 institutions, working in many roles as a career counselor, co-op and employer relations consultant, a student admissions and recruitment specialist, an employment counselor, a professor, and as a regional associate director of CWIL for Central Canada's iHub, providing funding for underrepresented students. As an added benefit, I've had the privilege to publish the first set of case studies in Canada on success factors for former youth in care who have completed post-secondary educational credentials. Most youth in care will struggle to keep a positive, healthy relationship, often sabotaging their relationships and demonstrating abusive parental roles. But by the grace of God, my wife and I have been married for over 33 years, and this May it'll be 34. We've raised 2 amazing daughters with strong careers, healthy relationships, and positive emotional connections with us. Now, we also have 3 granddaughters who still love playing with Grandpa. As a 17-year-old senior in high school, I did not have what social workers call family privilege. After hearing about post-secondary options in a careers class or a school recruitment visit, I couldn't go home and ask my parents or my siblings how to put an application together. I was working 3 part-time jobs to pay for room and board and other expenses while trying to finish my high school diploma. Well, one day I skipped classes to hitchhike to the University of Toronto so I could sign up for medical school to be a doctor, because that's what I thought you did. Upon arrival, they set me up for a campus tour, thinking I'd like to see all the nice buildings and the sports facilities and the fun activities. I just want to know where to sign up. Well, I quickly discovered it didn't work like that, and I had to apply through the university system. Well, later I would find out that I could not get in anywhere with that because my parents' tax return information was not available to me as a foster student. Well, frustrated, I started hitchhiking back, but I got picked up by a sexual predator in a van who wanted to take me back to his place to show me some fun, and I threatened to take his life if he didn't pull the van over and let me out. Well, fortunately, I escaped with no injuries or attack, but this was a fairly normal crisis I had learned how to get out of through my previous experiences as a foster child. It took me another year and a half to figure out how to apply for post-secondary education without getting my parents' financial information. And while moving in with a family who offered to mentor me like one of their own family members, I figured out that I could apply for post-secondary education with an affidavit. I mean, how many 17-year-olds know how to get an affidavit? Never mind know what it is used for. So eventually, after much encouragement and mentoring from my newfound family that I choose to move in with, I applied for a 1-year entry-level program at a university college, a combined one. I call them now my godparents because I felt like they were sent as a gift from above. And after being minimized by others, I thought 1 year might just be an experiment, just to see if I could swing it. After all, everyone told me I shouldn't expect too much. If I'd already got my high school diploma, I mean, why would I expect anything more? However, upon arrival, I soon realized how welcoming, inviting, inspiring, and a good fit this higher education was. And although I didn't have the same kind of family privileges that most of my colleagues had to ask for extra money or for regular support, my godparents became closer to me than any other foster parents I ever had. After the first 6 months, I transferred to the 3-year undergraduate degree program. And then, by the end of the first year, I transferred to the 4-year honors bachelor degree that was designed to prepare me for graduate school. And although it took me 8 years to finally complete the honors bachelor degree, which is fairly common for youth and care now that I see the research, I eventually went on to complete a graduate program in career development counseling and then a graduate master's degree in education in student affairs. And that, my friends, is the rest of the story. And I hope this has provided some insights into how I accessed higher education.